The quest for a big deer is a journey that challenges us to become the best we can be. We watch our dreams grow as we put in effort 365 days a year, praying for the chance to one day hold the reward. The best food plots, the best bedding cover, the best mineral, the best feed. At Real World, we do what it takes to be the very best.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Terry Peer with Real World Wildlife Products. Tonight we're going to kick off a new idea that we have for all of our customers. From the beginning of Real World's existence, we've always been about training and educating customers, and tonight is the first episode of how we're going to put a series of let's just say classes out there for you guys. Now, I'm going to be honest, we're going to be talking about Real World's individual products as we go through these sessions, but at the end of the day, what we really want to provide to you all is true facts and true resources that you guys can make your mind up about what's best for your property and your habitat projects this year. So tonight is the first installment of what's going to be called It's Time to Get Real. And there's going to be 5 of these sessions that'll be throughout the beginning of this year, focusing on real education, real research, real science, and ultimately real results. So tonight, the panel we have that's going to answer some key questions for everyone is the co-owner, president of Real World Wildlife Products, Don Higgins, the co-owner and general manager of Real World Wildlife Products, Wes Delks, and our Real World Wildlife Products head seedsman from Kitchen Seed Company, Dwayne Hopkins. So tonight's episode is going to be a little bit different. We're going to focus a little bit on products, but there's one thing that's very serious to the food plot industry that I think all of our customers and potential customers need to understand, and that's supply chain. We hear about it all the time that the supply chain is affecting everything. You know, we got stuff that's not being restocked at Kroger's or our local grocery store. We have stuff off the coast of the port of entries to the United States where we can't get them in and unloaded. It's creating a trickle-out effect of all different things. And when you compound that with the growing seasons across the country this year, it does create different supply chain problems for the food plot industry that we're going to talk about. And I'm going to start with Wes Delks. Again, he's the general manager of Real World and handles all of our negotiations and projects with UPS Ground and monitoring our shipping to not only end user customers for website orders, but also our dealers. And Wes, you can elaborate a little bit on this, but shipping has gone up drastically in the last year. And can you touch a little bit on how end user customers at least need to explore if they have a local dealer in their area to try to save them a little bit of money based on what UPS Ground is charging?
Yeah, definitely, Terry. In this world of crazy shipping costs here in the last 18 months, the prices of shipping everything have gone up. And when our company is geared toward the serious land manager, we've got a lot of products that are in 40, 50-pound bags for 1 acre type products or nutritional products. And it is just not cost effective to ship those type of products one at a time across the country. So that's what our local dealer network is all about, is they've already paid shipping costs to get a full pallet of product, or a lot of times multiple pallets of product at their location. So go check out your local dealer. Check out our dealer locator for a dealer near you, and then please go see them, and you can save yourself quite a bit of money on shipping.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a couple follow-up questions for you on that, Wes. But one of the biggest questions we get is why Real World is not in big box stores like a Rural King, a Tractor Supply, a Bass Pro Shops. All of us like to shop at those stores sometimes too, and it makes it a little handy because they're everywhere across the country. But talk a little bit about how we do not align with really what big box stores are about.
Well, it's for multiple reasons, Terry, but I'll give you a couple. The first thing is, simply put, Real World has more cost in our bag than the typical food plot seed company. We've put our dollars into having the highest quality products, and the products you see on the shelf at a Walmart or a big box store, those are products with a lot of margin. Those big box stores want products that have as much margin as possible. And quite frankly, we don't have that margin in our products because our costs are so, what we've put into our products is so high. Secondly, we really like working with those local mom and pop type stores, privately owned small companies that can help educate our end customers as to our competitive advantages. And we just don't get that at a big box store.
Yeah, I think when you see a product on a big box store shelf, you have to immediately recognize that the list price or the MSRP of that product has a greater margin for that retailer than really what we even have as a price point to even be competitive in the market. So that's really why we steer away from it. Don, I want you to chime in just a little bit on this. You've started this company and kind of founded it on education, and daring to compare. Why is working with someone, and I'm going to offend a lot of local dealers by not calling them out, but we have such a good group of local dealers that know our product, like Jim Wessel or Scott Finnendahl or the guys up at Tag Out. Talk a little bit about why it's so important to have true land managers in hunting explaining what our product is about.
Well, those people know the advantage that our products offer. A lot of them have done their own side-by-side testing. These are guys that are very serious land managers. They want their property to have the very best food plots, the very best cover, and they've seen the real world difference for themselves firsthand. So it just makes it a natural fit for them to sell the products.
Yeah, they have to be able to articulate those advantages. The whole theme behind It's Time to Get Real this year is the hunting industry is just full of celebrity endorsements and putting some celebrity on a bag or having a celebrity or maybe even a social media influencer with millions of followers say this product is the best. But that's really never been what we've been about. And it's really been about the science and the research. And quite frankly, this program that we're on right now is getting back to those basics for our customers. So, Wes, back to you for just a quick second. There's a lot of times a lot of sales and kind of incentives that go around over the holidays for normal consumer goods. This spring, customers might see some gimmicks out there that has free shipping. Free shipping's never free. Can you talk about that just for a minute?
Yeah, if anyone's ever taken a basic economics class in high school, there's no such thing as a free lunch. We often hear that, and that's 100% true. If you're getting something for free, it's built into the margin in that product. So whether you're paying for shipping or not, that company is going to make their money on that product one way or another.
Yeah, and either Don or Wes, you guys can speak up to this. We had to take a strategy with the price point of all of our products to offer it at the best price we could at all times. We don't really run sales or incentives. We want to price it at the best price we can year round, for customers not to have to worry about playing the games of when to buy and when not to buy. But there's a plug-in on the backside of our website that no one really ever sees, and that's UPS that calculates that shipping cost. Every transaction, when you type in your address, that shipping cost is calculating on the back. That's a pass-through from us. So whatever UPS is charging is what you get on that order.
You
Yeah,
want to
that's
take
a
that?
good point. Sure. That's a good point, Terry. And because UPS is calculating those shipping costs, um, there's some things that a customer and consumer can do to sometimes maximize those shipping costs, and that a lot of people don't realize. And a lot of those small packaging type products, if you stack those up, and just to give an example, like giant miscanthus, we can fit 4 of those. Quantities of 4 are the most cost efficient quantities to put into a box. So if you are ordering giant miscanthus and you are buying 4, 8, 12, that's the most cost effective or shipping efficient cost for you. If you're ordering clover, that's a small package, and you put in a 20-pound bag of mineral, you can often, that's very good for your shipping cost, efficient for your shipping cost. A lot of times those 40, 50-pound bags, those are going to take extra boxes. So that's not efficient. But if you put multiple small products together, oftentimes it's not going to change your shipping cost very much at all.
Yeah, so you might want to throw a bag of mineral in with an order and not get too much additional shipping, or go ahead and buy your jug of plot topper with your clover, or play around with your shopping cart basically and see how you can optimize that. Um, you know, Don, do you got anything else to add real quick before we move on that, Don?
No, I think Wes covered it very well. We're not looking to make money on shipping costs. We're just recovering the charges that UPS charges us. It's their plug-in that they provide to us to put on our website. So we have very little control over the shipping costs. And again, we're not trying to profit off of shipping in any way.
Well, I think it's important to clarify that we're not going to make money off shipping, but we're not going to use a shipping gimmick. We would have to basically artificially raise the price of the product to cover free shipping back out of it. And we're not into playing those kind of games. So we try to offer the best price we can, and educate customers as we go. So we're going to move on to the second bullet point we want to talk about tonight. And I'm going to start with Don on this question. And Don, we always say that Real World strives to provide the highest quality and freshest seed possible. For customers who don't know, many companies that dabble in the food plot industry, they don't use specific varieties of products. So they basically work with ag wholesalers and find out what varieties are available, and then that's how they build their blends. Can you give us a 30,000-foot view of how Real World is different when we select specific varieties inside of our blends?
Well, we've got a pretty unique process to bring a product to market, Terry. Yeah, it starts on our farms. All 4 of us here on this broadcast this evening own hunting properties that we plant plots on. And when we get an idea of or something we want to test, it starts right there on our 4 farms. And if it passes that test, then we spread it out to our pro staff across the country and get feedback from them. And if that's positive, then we do a pilot program, such as we did last year on our NutriCrave corn. And only after that pilot program where our customers have been allowed to purchase a limited amount and we get feedback from that, it's only after we receive positive feedback from that step that a product becomes a regular real world product from then on out. And once we get to that point, we don't want to change things just to cheapen up what we've got in the bag. So, for example, with our clover and chicory blend, there's a lot of people selling clover, white clover, ladino clover, but a lot of consumers are not aware that ladino clover, there's several different varieties of ladino clover, and we've selected the one that we think is the very most attractive to deer. We pretty much let the deer tell us what to put in those bags. And once we've found that, we're not going to deviate from it just to save some money and increase our profit margins. So where a lot of other companies are looking for the cheapest ladino clover, for example, we're looking for the best, and we're going to stick with the best year after year.
Yeah, I think the other takeaway outside of what you just talked about is, especially since I've been working with you guys, there's been a lot of pop-up seed companies that are here for a couple years and then they go away. For someone to just say, I'm in the food plot seed business is really tough, because there's no way that starting this year or 2 years ago that you would have the years of testing required to truly say, this is what the animals prefer, and, build those blends of specific varieties. You can't just flip the switch and say, hey, we're in the food plot business with how we've done it.
When we get an idea, it's a 3-year process. It starts on our farm, then it goes to the pro staff, then it goes to a pilot program, and if it passes each of them, then it becomes a real world product.
The funny part about this is the people that listen to our Chasing Giants podcast still tease me to this day about the cattle that got loose from the neighbors. Honestly, that's the reason that it was such a big deal that those cattle went in and did the damage they did, because it was all test plots that year. And we lost a lot of test plot data that we couldn't use. So it's really important to us to have to test those products. So Don, as a follow-up question on that, this year's growing season was very different around the country. We had areas that was very dry. We had yields of corn and beans that was really high, that we'll talk to Dwayne in just a second about. But I want you to touch a little bit on the native grass harvest, not only this year, but last year, because there is going to be a shortage. So why don't you talk a little bit about those growing seasons, explain how that all works, and what availability of native grass is going to be for the 2022 season.
Well, native grass is very unique, Terry, in that you never know what kind of harvest you get until you go to the field for harvest. And you can look out there and think that you've got a fantastic crop of seed, and get out there and find you've got almost nothing. And that was the case in some of the fields this fall. Our real world switchgrass, for example, the demand just continues to grow for that product. And we've got new fields in production. But the other thing with native grasses is you just don't go out in the spring and plant a crop like you would with corn or soybeans and harvest it that fall. You're looking at 2 to 3 years to establish that crop to get it to the point where you can harvest the seed. And, the last 2 years, the harvest has been fairly poor. Last year, we ran out of switchgrass and bedding in a bag. I think it was probably early summer. And we're going to see similar levels of inventory this year that we seen last year, which means with growing demand, we're going to run out at some point. My guess is it's probably going to be late spring, probably around May or so. But if you're planning on ordering any native grasses from us, switchgrass or the bedding in a bag blend, I suggest you do it early.
This is a fundamental decision that we have to make every year, that we would rather run out and protect the integrity of our brand than bait and switch people and going out and getting another variety that we think is similar that no one would ever know. But we would rather run out and lose sales, but protect the integrity of our brand and that what's inside that bag.
Well, I think that's really what sets Real World apart from any other seed company, is that we're not going to deviate from what we know is the best. All four of us on this tonight are land managers. All of us, we want the very best that we can have on our own properties, and that's what we're selling. If there was something else out there better, we would be planting it ourselves. And I think it's just the real world difference.
All right, Don. So last follow-up question as we talk specifically about the growing season last year. And so when I say last year, I mean the 2020 and the 2021 growing season for native grass. If people are out there and they say we run out, say the demand keeps growing and we run out and people are out looking for alternatives, what do we need to watch for as far as test date, germ percentage, and other things on that seed tag to ensure that we're still going and getting a quality product?
Well, germination rate right off the bat. It's required by law that a current germination test be done on a product. That means within 12 months, and that information be on the tag. So you really need to watch those germination rates. And You know, something that you'll see on a lot of different seed tags is when it comes to variety, it will say VNS, and VNS means variety not stated. And what that means is you could have any variety. So let's say switchgrass, for example, there's probably, I don't know, a dozen, 15, maybe 20 different varieties of switchgrass out there. And if a company is selling switchgrass with the VNS variety next to it, it could be any of those 20 different varieties. And some of those varieties only get about knee high. Others get, you know, real tall over your head, 7, 8 foot. When you see that VNS, and it's not just with native grasses, if you see VNS on any seed tag, that's variety not stated. And a lot of times that's a company just getting the cheapest thing out there they can find. And they can still call it Ladino clover, for example, but it might be VNS, variety not stated, Ladino clover. Who knows what you're going to get? And if you would ever try to match it, if you get something that you do like, how are you ever going to match it? Because you have no idea what variety it really was.
Yeah, I think that's really important, a piece to the puzzle here. And, quite frankly, matching up that germination rate to that test date. Everyone legally is supposed to put a current year test date tag on the product. So if there's a shortage and you can't find it, and all of a sudden you go in and you have a current test date, but the germs are way down, that's probably because it's a previous year leftover seed that somebody came up with that bought real cheap, but they're giving it to you, and trying to pass it on as a product. So, Dwayne, I want to kind of carry this same conversation on with you and relate it to corn and beans, because we really saw yields fairly high of most of the areas around the Midwest for corn and beans this year, right?
Yeah, we had an exceptional growing season this last year. Quality was excellent. Germs are good. Germs from a year ago were off the chart, 95, 98, 99. We're probably going to be 93 to 95% germ on beans this year. But just exceptional growing season.
Yeah, so I want to touch real quick on that just for a minute. If somebody pulls a real world bag of beans and they look at it, usually we'll put on the tag somewhere around 90, maybe 91%, right?
Correct. So our germs are always going to be better than what's on the bag. If the Department of Ag, we're regulated heavily by the Department of Ag, and they're in monthly pulling the samples. If we put a 93 on that tag and it tests 92, still excellent product, but they're going to put a stop sale on it. So
Right.
It's all reflective of the sample they take.
So yeah, I wanted to reference that because, last year we saw unprecedented, we still tag the bags the same, but last year we saw unprecedented germs up around, 96, 97, 98%. And this year it's not quite as high, but it's very good still. It just isn't, record setting germination like we had. I want to touch base just a little bit on, we contract specific growers. We ran out last year. We use very specific varieties. The Northern blend has this very specific variety of beans in it that comes from a little bit further north with our contract growers. With the yields being that high this year, we still up production of beans. I know I've seen video of your warehouse where you're bagging these and then moving them over behind the real world warehouse. We got a pretty good handle on it, but we've upped production even though the yields were high.
That's right. Our yields are probably 10 to 15% above last year, and acreage is up a little bit. Quality's up, like I mentioned earlier. That's still no guarantee that we won't sell out. It's the growth of this product in the industry. It's hard to foresee where we're going to be or what our needs are going to be.
Yeah, unlike most companies, we would rather sell out and maintain what we are than put something in that bag that we're not confident in. Real quick before we move on to the next question, I want to spend a lot of time on the clover product tonight, but fall products. I think people have a hard time understanding that we harvest spring products and fall products the same way in the fall. You've already started packaging some of those fall products. Going back to what Wes was talking about with the shipping, if someone orders a spring product, say a clover, and they want a plot topper, you're packaging that from this past fall's harvest, so it's going to be fresh seed that you're already getting ready to send out this year.
That's right. So the seed that you buy this year was actually in 2020 was harvested at some point in 2021. So it's gone through the testing process to get germs and quality, make sure we're good on that. So I think if you want to buy a fall product, it's already been harvested. We're putting it together, and you can get it in the spring with the spring product to maximize shipping and do it with confidence.
Yeah, so with us, when we're talking about a 2022 sale year, a product sold in 2022 that was harvested in 2021. So just keep that in mind. If you're playing around with your shopping cart and you throw a fall product in there, it's going to be a fresh seed, just like a soybean would. I want to transition back to clover, and all three of you are going to have to chime in with this a little bit, because we do have a little bit of a curveball that was thrown us as it relates to the topic of this session, which is growing season and supply chain. And I want to start with Dawn. You referenced earlier a little bit about the clover and specific varieties. Most people probably don't know this, but clover comes from the Pacific Northwest. And the last couple years, there's been tough growing years out there, which has really created a shortage of clover in many of the varieties. There might be some varieties that's available, but walk us through a little bit about the struggle we have this year. Kitchen Seed did a phenomenal job kind of seeing this coming and helped us make decisions back in August, and talk just a little bit about the process of what we all went through, the conversations we had to have due to this situation in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, we started these conversations last summer, Terry. Our partners at Kitchen Seed seen that there was going to be a shortage of seed for this coming spring, and did everything they could to acquire as much inventory as possible. But the industry, the growers, if you will, kind of threw us a curveball that we wasn't expecting. For years we have preached that excess seed coating is just a way to cheapen a blend. It's what a lot of the food plot seed companies have done, is they've used seed coating often over 30% and at times up to 50%. So if you was buying a bag with 8 pounds of seed, you was really getting 4 pounds of seed and 4 pounds of seed coating. And I guess the growers took a note from some of these companies, because to make that short supply of seed that they have available stretch farther, they are only selling coated seed this year, and they have put excess seed coating on it. We had no choice but to either buy that or not offer anything. And we went back and forth through a series of meetings and discussions, and we decided that the thing for us to do was we was still going to have the best product on the market, we feel. We're still offering 10 pounds of seed for a 1 acre planting when most of our competition is offering 7 or 8 pounds. We're still going to have less seed coating in our bag than our competition is going to have. So we decided to move forward, but what we decided to do, instead of just trying to pull the wool over the consumer's eyes, our end customers, we're educating them to what's going on. That was a big reason for tonight's production here, is that we want to ensure our customers that we're not going back on what we feel. We still believe that there's excess seed coating being sold across the industry. We were backed into a corner where we didn't have a choice. And our product is still going to have less seed coating than the competition. And we've done everything we can in our control to have the best clover product available anywhere.
So I wanna just stop for a quick second and pick Dwayne's brain for a second. I got tongue tied there. Dwayne, in the past, basically Dawn Wes, yourself, and I, we would sit down and say, our clover blend's been the same for a long time. We've done very little tweaking of that blend over time, but we had a very specific variety of every clover that was in that blend. So Don talked about that earlier. There's different Ladino clovers, there's different reds, there's different whites. Basically, how it used to be is you would buy that seed untreated or uncoated. Is that correct?
That's right. There's always been an option to buy it either way. We've chosen to buy it uncoated, more of a raw type product. We have it
Yeah.
as more seeds per pound.
Right. And so then we could apply the amount of coating that we wanted. Other companies would buy it and basically dilute it and put the fluorescent colors and all the things that looked really pretty to the eye. And then that's where they would dilute it. This year, the only difference is we've kept that same list of varieties that we want in that blend that Don, you've been talking about, but the only choice we had was to buy it with the heavier inoculant, which is, I think, around 30% is all they're going to sell us. It's either not sell this product at all and just say we don't have any clover this year, or be transparent with our customers and saying this is the best we can do. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be a little under 34%. We'll probably be somewhere around 25% in our bag, and a lot of that has to do with the chicory's not going to be coated in any fashion, and so it drops it down a little bit. I think we've been very diligent to maintain the blend, the species and the varieties since the beginning of this, and not compromise. The thing I look at is we're still selling a 10-pound bag, and what I have figured with the coating in it this year, you're going to get 7.5 pounds of seed. A year ago, in that same 10-pound bag, you would have got 9.5 pounds of seed.
Right.
So what sets this product apart, I think, is some of our competition that's selling the same type of product at 7 pounds and 34% coating, you're only going to get about 4.9 pounds out of that bag. So we're still giving you more actual seed in the bag.
Right. And Wes, you can chime in a little bit too. You know, Dwayne led a kind of a comment there about the competition. It's not like we're the only ones that are being affected by this. So, you know, the price of the clover to us has gone up. So not only are they diluting it and only selling it to us with a 30, I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but with that seed coating percentage up, but the price to us has also come up. So all the other food plot industry people are going to sit around and say, are we going to further dilute it with more seed coating, or are we going to put fewer pounds per acre? It's not like Real World's the only one affected by this.
Exactly, Terry. Yeah. Real World's always had a good customer base, a loyal customer base. And as this has happened to us, we just want to be upfront with our customers, upfront with what's happening. Our fixed cost has been driven up, but we've made the decision to, even though that fixed cost has been driven up, we want to keep our retail price point the same. And that's kind of our way of making up for this additional seed coating, Terry.
Yeah, so we should have raised the price on this product. We had lengthy meetings about all of this, and we don't know what years to come next year if they're going to go back and be able to sell us untreated seed.
Right.
They may decide that they're going to milk this for how their whole plan is, and we'll have to continue to adapt. But at least for this year, this gap we're absorbing in our margin, which it was a tough decision, but it's the best way we can stay loyal to our customer and try to make that difference up. Don, we tell our customers to read seed tags and understand what they're buying. As I guess, tell everybody what to basically kind of watch out for. There's everybody in the industry's clover price has risen from the wholesalers and growers. We know that there's extra seed coating that has to be done. How does a person that's deciding that they want to plant a clover product this year, what are they watching for, and kind of just give us some basic advice? I mean, it's a very dynamic situation that all the consumers are going to be in this year.
Well, I think it starts with how many pounds are you getting per acre. Um, Real World's giving you 10 pounds of clover per acre. I don't think there's any other company doing that. In fact, most of them are at the 7 or 8 pounds per acre. Well, then you look at the percentage of inert matter or seed coating, and you can subtract that from the poundage you just bought. If you bought the competition, you're subtracting that from 8 or 7 pounds. And then you look at germination rates, and if you got lower germination rates, you got to subtract some more. So you may think you're buying 8 pounds of seed, but you very well may be buying 4 pounds or even less than 4 pounds.
Yeah.
So you just need to figure all those factors in when you're looking at a product to see what you're really getting.
And I think if somebody finds a product that has a low seed coating on it, the first thing that they need to immediately go to is the test date and then the germination, because as Dwayne mentioned earlier, there just isn't a lot of uncoated seed available this year. You might find some very limited supplies. Dwayne mentioned that to me on the phone the other day, but anything that's got a scale from the growers that can be packaged, they're just not letting their hands go of it unless they've diluted it with some additional coating this year. Right, Dwayne?
That's correct, Terry. There'll be a little bit of that seed brought in late last fall prior to this shortage, and that may not have as much coating on it. But it's a limited quantity, and it'll get worked in, and it's still good seed. It'll get worked into the blends and the mixes, but limited is the key word there. The other piece is that there's some products out there that aren't in short supply, such as crimson clover. Not a bad product, just doesn't fit it won't work for us. It doesn't meet our quality standards. So some of those things may surface.
Yeah, there's a lot of clovers out there that the deer just won't eat. So that gets back to we want to maintain the integrity of specific varieties that we've tested. So this first session we bounced around, but just a quick summary. Guys, we can't control shipping cost. Do your due diligence and contact your local dealer as early as we can, or as you can. Let them know what you're wanting. If you can't find a dealer close to you to try to save as much shipping as you can, play around with your shopping cart, especially smaller bagged items. There's not a lot you can do with the big 50-pound bags. I will add another thought here, Wes. If I say something wrong, correct me. But for the people who are shipping multiple bags, say they want to do a more acreage, say 6, 7, 8, 9, if that price gets up there over $200 in shipping, call the office. We might be able to do an LTL shipment if you can find a business to receive it on your end, where we could ship you just a pallet and it will be cheaper. And then, good grief, it's the same price for an entire pallet, whether it has 250 pounds or a whole ton. So did I say that right, Wes?
Without a doubt. Yeah, we have a great office staff, and it's oftentimes where last year our customer base puts in a online order and shipping costs are $400 or $500 because they're buying a bunch of boxes of beans, and our office staff takes the initiative and makes a phone call and says, hey, we saw this, but we looked up what LTL cost would be to a business in your area, and it's only going to be $200. And we've done that and taken initiative and refunded the customer in some of those circumstances. But if you call us, we can get those shipping costs for you ahead of time. That makes it a lot easier.
The key to get cheap LTL, though, is a business that has published receiving hours. So not just a farm with a skid loader, but
Yep.
a true business that has published hours. Those LTL companies they want to be guaranteed when that truck driver pulls in and backs into that dock that somebody's going to be there to unload it. That's the cheapest rate we can get. I mean, we can quote all the way up to a neighborhood delivery with a lift gate, but it starts getting a little bit higher there. So I want to thank everybody for watching this. This is a very non-fluffy kind of approach to getting information out to consumers. But one thing that Don Higgins and I learned with the Chasing Giants podcast is I think people are ready for just a non-fluff, uh, fact-based, just the brutal truth. And that's really what we want to do with this, isn't it, Don?
Yeah, absolutely. We just want to be upfront and honest with everyone. We appreciate our loyal customers. We hope we can attract some new customers with our approach. Always trying to do things better, and looking forward to 2022.
Yeah, so again, we talked a lot about our products, but I hope that this information at least helps educate you to make the best decision. And if you decide that something's better for you, then that's fine. We have a lot of this content that's going to be going out in our new land management guide, and I know Don picked up the first copies of that came off the press today, and those will be available on the website later this week. They're going out in dealer packets this week, so our dealers will have access to those. They'll have access to their pricing. Once the dealers get access to their pricing and order packets, then we will open up soybean and corn sales on our website. But we did not want to do that until our dealers knew what their pricing was. That way they could work with you as customers to find the best way to fit your needs. So that kind of wraps up the aspect of supply chain and growing season. I'm going to tease the next episode that we're going to try to do here just after Christmas. And session 2 is going to talk about our pilot programs. Don mentioned that a little bit ago. Last year, we kicked off a 2021 pilot program that included Enlist soybeans, a regular variety and a northern. We're going to give feedback and an update on that. And also our NutriCrave corn, which was in the pilot program. We're also going to introduce the 2022 pilot program, which includes new product that we are releasing to market in 2022, but it's still going to be in a pilot program. We've tested this with our own farms, with ProStats for the last couple years, and we're ready to let a limited supply of customers get it. We're also going to talk about miscanthus. Wes, we had a conference call today, and we learn a lot about new. I guess that we didn't learn about it, but as we navigate this, we want to bring the information that the experts in the miscanthus industry give to us, and that's going to include plant dates, especially for the deep south, and also maybe some education about how people can protect their first year miscanthus this winter if they didn't get a real strong hold on it. So we'll be talking about that in the next episode. And then a very key topic that all food plotters, land managers need to understand is the shortage of chemicals and fertilizers this year, and kind of talking a little bit about what we know of those two topics. So we hope that you guys enjoy this. Please, by all means, this is going to be on a lot of different platforms. Please ask questions, make comments. We'll try to add those in as we navigate the other sessions as we move forward with these new programs called It's Time to Get Real. On behalf of Don Higgins, Wes Delks, and Dwayne Hopkins, I'm Terry Peer. Thank you for your business, and we wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.